All right, let's dive right into this explainer. Today, we're unpacking a dynamic in the world of artificial intelligence that is honestly absolutely fascinating. We're going to look at why adopting AI isn't just about buying some shiny new tech tool, it's actually fundamentally about who ultimately owns the learning process. We'll be drawing on some incredible insights from Chris Parsons today, looking specifically at how this whole thing impacts massive, knowledge-intensive public systems, like the UK's National Health Service or the NHS. So here is the million-dollar question we really have to ask ourselves to challenge the whole basic assumption of buying AI. Normally, when an organization buys a piece of software, they assume they're just, well, purchasing a capability. But AI is totally different. It's a co-evolving system. When you plug it into your daily workflows, you have to stop and ask, are you just training an external system to get smarter using your team's hard-earned expertise? Like, are you basically paying for the privilege of giving your own brain trust away? Okay, Section 1, the AI paradox.
Now, Microsoft CEO Satya Nadella brilliantly flips a classic economic theory totally on its head here. You might know Kenneth Arrow's classic paradox, right? The idea that a seller has to reveal their secret sauce just to prove it's worth buying. But Nadella points out that in the AI era, we've got a reverse information paradox. Today, the hidden danger is actually for the knowledge-intensive buyers. The buyer risks revealing their own immensely valuable organizational knowledge just to use the AI tool they literally just paid for.
Which brings us right to Section 2, beware of intelligence exhaust. So this is the hidden cost where organizations essentially end up paying twice, first with cash and then with their knowledge. We call this intelligence exhaust. And to be clear, it's not just raw data. It's the clinical reasoning patterns, the operational tweaks, the super specific prompts, and all those careful little corrections your staff make when they interact with the AI. It is literally the digital residue of how your organization thinks and solves problems every single day.
If we're not careful here, this creates a really dangerous asymmetry of learning. Every time your staff uses AI, they're exposing incredibly rich, highly contextual knowledge. Meanwhile, as the buyer, you have almost zero visibility into how the AI provider is aggregating or reusing that knowledge. Over time, this creates a massive structural imbalance. The true value starts to concentrate not with your organization, but with the massive tech providers controlling the models. You're basically bleeding your internal expertise straight to the platform.
Let's make this a bit more concrete. Section 3, AI in the NHS.
43 minutes. A recent UK government-backed trial of Microsoft 365 Copilot in the NHS showed that AI can save staff an average of 43 minutes a day. Just put that into perspective. That's practically an entire lunch break saved every single day, mostly by cutting down on admin work. At the massive scale of the NHS, time savings like that are absolutely staggering. I mean, that directly contributes to the system's capacity to actually care for patients.
But actually, scratch that. Those productivity gains, they aren't guaranteed just by flipping a switch. Success relies entirely on embedding the AI deeply into local workflows and tapping into tacit clinical judgments. It's exactly like economist F.A. Haig's old theory of distributed knowledge. The smartest insights aren't just sitting in some central database somewhere, they live in the heads of your frontline workers, reacting to specific, local circumstances. AI absolutely needs that highly localized clinical context to actually be useful.
Moving on to Section 4, the risks of reliance.
We are entering a real danger zone here if learning processes aren't governed. These specific clinical and cyber risks can spread like wildfire across the entire health system. We aren't just talking about your standard data leaks. We're talking about huge vulnerabilities like prompt injection attacks, where external bad actors manipulate the AI, or hallucinations. Imagine an AI generating a beautifully written, highly plausible, but entirely fake medical summary. Yeah, no thanks.
There's this recent JAMA study that really hit the nail on the head regarding this vulnerability, specifically highlighting automation bias. Basically, it's the idea that if a machine says it, we humans kind of just nod along and believe it. When the AI system produced incorrect info, clinicians were actually more likely to just go along with it, completely ignoring contradictory evidence. It just shows how the interaction between human expertise and AI is a massive point of vulnerability.
And this is exactly why traditional data governance simply isn't going to cut it anymore. Traditional governance treats data like gold in a vault. You just lock it down. But AI generates value through learning artifacts. Those prompts, evaluations, and workflow traces we were just talking about. We urgently need to shift our mindset toward learning governance to protect an organization's tacit knowledge base from quietly becoming someone else's competitive advantage.
So what's the fix? Section 5, securing the trust boundary.
How do you stop giving away your organization's brain? Well, the solution is building a trust boundary. Think of it as a strategic digital fortress. It's a secure architectural environment where your organization's inputs, its corrections, and its memory are governed with the exact same rigor that you'd apply to highly sensitive patient records. It's the only way to ensure your learning actually stays yours.
To build that boundary, Satya Nadella lays out a 5-part framework: control, capability, choice, cost, and compound. This isn't just some corporate checklist. It's a critical strategy to ensure you maintain agency over your tools. It allows an enterprise to create self-reinforcing learning loops that compound value internally, day after day, instead of just letting that incredibly valuable intelligence dissipate out to the tech giants.
And that leads us to Section 6, building a learning system.
If we get this right, the upside is absolutely massive. A properly governed AI system acts as this powerful engine to capture and redistribute expertise. If you keep the learning loop inside the house, you can take the best practices of your most senior doctors and spread them like wildfire across the entire network. You can dramatically support your newer staff, vastly improving patient safety and operational efficiency, building a true learning health system.
Now, this is a super important distinction for the public sector. Unlike a commercial enterprise that just wants to hoard knowledge to crush its rivals, the NHS's ultimate objective here is entirely about public welfare. It's all about ensuring that the learning generated inside the health system is retained and used purely for the benefit of the patients, maximizing public value, safety, and equity across the board.
Chris Parsons sums up the whole shebang perfectly here. The reverse information paradox is ultimately about where intelligence accumulates. Modern leadership has got to relentlessly focus on who owns and governs the learning itself. Because if you aren't actively designing your architecture to accumulate intelligence internally, well, you are actively externalizing your organization's most valuable asset.
So I'm going to leave you with this one, slightly provocative final question to chew on for your own organization's AI strategy. In consuming intelligence, is your organization retaining its own? Are you architecting a system that actually learns from itself, or are you just feeding the machine? Thanks so much for hanging out with me for this explainer. Keep asking those tough questions about where your intelligence is going, and we'll see you next time.